Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, or Devontae Adams won't win you your fantasy league. Not alone, at least. You need depth. Players like Cooper Kupp in 2021 and even Christian Kirk this last year severely beat out expectations and became league winners. Why? Because they were around in the second, third, and even fourth rounds before they exploded during the year. So how do we get a second round talent in the fifth or sixth round? You've got to call a big year before it happens. And that's what these 4 picks are. Stick around because our number 1 underrated wide receiver could very well crack the top 5 to 10 receivers in fantasy next year. Let's start off with Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks missed 6 games, had just 33 receptions and 444 yards this year, and he's on a Titans offense that relies mostly on Derrick Henry in the run. Most people will say that statement and they'll never look at Treylon Burks again. Not us. We look deeper than that. Burks was a victim of subpar quarterback play in an offense where nobody had more than 550 receiving yards. The quarterback position is most definitely on the radar for a Titans team that probably thought they had the AFC South on locks coming into the season before the Jaguars went on that crazy run. Burks had a team-high 3.1 yards of separation. He was getting away from the cornerback, giving him a decent amount of cushion too, and he led the team in yards after contact on the season as well. Again, despite missing a third of the season. Give him a better quarterback, and I hear there are 2 Hall of Famers shopping the market in a healthy season, and this guy could shock some people. Let's jump over to the NFC. We've got KJ Osborn up next. This guy got enough attention down the stretch for me to want to take a look at him, and I like what I see. Osborn has had roughly 4 receptions per game in the first 2 years of play as the wide receiver 3 behind Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. But he took off in the last couple of weeks. He had 10 receptions, 157 yards, and a score in the Vikings' historic comeback against the Colts. A lot of attention was paid to Justin Jefferson during this comeback, and who stepped up? Not Adam Thielen, not even a usual red zone target in TJ Hawkinson. KJ Osborn was making plays in the open field. The main reason I think Osborn is in line for a bigger season, though, is because Adam Thielen, the man right ahead of him, is taking steps backwards. Despite playing his first full season in 5 years, Thielen's yard total was the lowest it has been since 2019. Thielen turns 33 years old ahead of next regular season as well, and his usage took a downward spiral during the Vikings' last few games. I don't see Osborn being a huge game changer in standard 12-team leagues, in the sense that he'll blow up for 20 points a game, but if he takes over as the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota, we could see an increase in looks in his direction. And if he handles volume like he did down the stretch in 2022, that could make him an under-the-radar guy. Next up, we've got Christian Watson. Christian Watson had a rookie year burst similar to what Amon St. Brown did in 2021. Not the fastest start at the beginning, and then boom, now we see what he's capable of. I do like that other than the Detroit game to end the season, Watson kind of cooled off towards the end of the year. We want him under the radar so he's available later in our drafts. Watson was 4th on the team in targets despite not really being utilized in the offense until the halfway point in the season. He was just 2 targets behind Robert Tonyan and Romeo Doubs. So many are scared of what's to come if Aaron Rodgers does not stay in Green Bay. And I say let them be scared. Allen Lazard, who led the team in targets this last year, is a free agent going into 2023. And following week 18, he already started talking about it possibly being his last game. We got a team-high 7 touchdowns and a 20-point fantasy streak out of Watson as the second option on this Packers team. Whether Rodgers stays or not, if Allen Lazard leaves and Christian Watson is the number 1 guy, could you imagine the season he would have? Now, before we get to our underrated wide receiver with the most upside in 2023, if you want to fill out your team and see some running backs who are operating under the radar and could definitely go off next year, make sure you check out our recent video on that as well. Now, our number 1 guy who I seriously think could break out and win some leagues this year, Garrett Wilson in New York. If the Jets make the right moves, this guy is a top 10 wide receiver, hands down. Find me 10 more wide receivers in the NFL who would have had 1,100 receiving yards and be fantasy wide receiver 21 in standard PPR on an offense with the following quarterbacks: Zach Wilson, Mike White, 2022 Joe Flacco, and Chris Streveler. Wilson led all rookies in receiving yards, he had 4 scores, and he managed to corral 83 receptions on a team with a new quarterback seemingly every week and a reduced run game following the Breece Hall injury. This guy took the cards he was dealt and ran away with the pot. He ran a 4.38 at the combine, has ridiculous acceleration, and I'm telling you right now, if Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or even Derek Carr makes their way over to New York in this next year, this guy will explode. Whether you draft now, you're in a dynasty league and we're talking trades, or you draft in August, I don't care. The Jets quarterback situation can only get better compared to what we saw this year, and Garrett Wilson is bound to benefit from it. Those are 4 under-the-radar wide receivers who we see booming in 2023. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and browse the page for more fantasy football research. Thank you so much for watching as always, and we will see you in the next one.